Okay, since I'm gone today, I'm going to do a quick little tutorial on what I want you guys to do. I have Photoshop started, and I would like you to open from your desktop that Photoshop training folder that we got yesterday. So hopefully Chance and Crystal, one of your classmates, will help you do that. But the two files you need to open are Girlfriend and Grand Canyon. And if you won't have this one here, so they'll be side by side. You can hold down the shift key and click on both of those. And then once they get open, they'll be right here, side by side. And the one you're going to work with is Girlfriend. Okay, yesterday we talked about the quick selection tool and the magic wand. Today we're going to use the quick selection tool to select the girl and put her in the Grand Canyon. Up here, this is really important though. We want to make sure we're not on subtract from selection. We want to make sure we're either on add to or new selection, okay, when we start. My brush is a pretty good size right now, and basically you just want to get the girl. You don't want to get anything out here, so I'm clicking inside on the girl. So I'm going to click and drag. You can kind of see how it's picking it up. You can do it fairly quick. Now, you might get some grass here, and you might get some grass here. So here's what I do. Once I feel like I have everything pretty well selected, I'm going to change the size of my brush just a hair, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to subtract and just kind of click and drag and push that in and push this up here a little bit. Now I know we're still going to have some grass here, but that's okay. So I think this is about as good as I can get with this picture. So as soon as I have the selection made, I'm always going to hit this refine edge button right here. And now I can see how that doesn't look the greatest, but if I smooth it out just a hair, that helps. It's going to be too hard to get rid of the grass here, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I smoothed it just a hair, and I'm going to output it to a new layer. Those are the two things you do with refine edge, and then say OK. And now I have this layer on a transparent background. All right, so I'm going to want to move this to my Grand Canyon picture. So I can see the Grand Canyon picture. I go to Window Arrange, and I'm just going to tile them vertically. I'm going to use my Move tool, and I'm going to actually grab from here and just set her right on the Grand Canyon. We'll try that again. There we go. Now obviously this is pretty fakey, but that's okay. This is kind of a practice assignment. Once I have her here, I can go back to Girlfriend and close without saving, so don't save. And then she's here. If you don't have this bounding box around it, you can see mine's checked, so I have it right up here. If yours isn't checked, you can't see it, so you can't resize her. So make sure Show Transform controls are there. If you hold down the Shift key and grab from the corner, you maintain proportion as you resize. If you don't hold down the Shift key, you know, she's skinny, she's fat, you can flip her, whatever you want her to do. But once you have her resized and placed where you'd like her, you go ahead and just hit the check mark right here. So now she's in the Grand Canyon picture. You can always move her later if you choose to. All right, the next thing you're going to do, you guys, is really quickly add some text to this picture. I'm just going to type Grand Canyon, and then I'm going to hit my check mark. Now I'm going to move it. And I want you to apply a special effects. This is going to go off the screen a little bit, but remember that little FX that's down at the bottom of your layers panel? You can bevel it, you can stroke it, you can add a shadow, whatever you choose to do. I'm just going to do a quick bevel and emboss and say OK. Now one other thing that we haven't learned yet with text is if you click on your text tool right here and then come up and find this little button here that's called Warped, Create Warp Text, I would like you to do that too, please. And then you have all these different options. You can arc it, adjust your sliders, you can bulge it, whatever you want to do. Okay? And then finally, the last thing I want you to do is make sure you click on your background layer before you get started, and we're going to add a border around this picture. So here's the background layer. You're going to go up to your Select menu, and you're going to select All to start with. Notice it's all selected now. Then you're going to go to Select, Modify Border. We'll use about 50 pixels. So if you don't have 50 there, type it in and say OK. Now all we have left to do is fill this border with the color of our choice, and that's under Edit. Edit, Fill. And yours might be on Content to Wear right here. You want to make sure you always change it to color. And then why don't you come out here to the Grand Canyon picture and pick a color from the picture itself to make your border. It can be the color of your text, it can be the ground, it can be something on her. But once you have the color selected, say OK and OK, and then we have a border around the picture. Finally, I'm going to select, deselect, and save this in a format that you can turn into Me. So it's going to be called Me Grand Canyon. You're going to change the format right down here to JPEG, and you're going to save it in your Photoshop folder on your desktop, which looks like I don't have one, but you guys will. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll create a new folder called Photoshop, and that's where I would like you to save this picture. Once it's saved, you can upload it to Classroom.